Right. Welcome to the 34th meeting of the Honolulu Liquor Commission. When addressing the commission, please remember to state and spell your name clearly. I see that we have some minutes to approve. May I have a motion, please?
Yes, Chair. Motion to approve the minutes of the 27th and 28th meetings as previously circulated.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the 27th and 28th meetings. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The motion carries. Calling agenda item number 1, transfer application number 23-00984 from TK World LLC.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Min Young-woo on behalf of TK World LLC. On my right is Manager Yu Nakamura.
Mr. Sato.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. This application was continued from the March 14th, 2024 meeting with the public hearing kept open due to Hawaii Revised Statutes 28157B, proof of public notice compliance, when publication affidavit was not verified or received by the Commission through no fault of the applicant. Commission staff has received the proof, a copy of it. So this applicant has 0 written protests, 0 letters in support. Applicant has met statutory requirements for the submission of this application. We'll state for the record that a summary of the February 22nd, 2024 preliminary hearing testimony was provided to Commissioner Bach prior to the public hearing.
Commissioners, any questions?
I have no question.
Okay. I'm sorry, is there anyone in the audience who would like to testify either for or against this application? Okay. May I have a motion, please?
Yeah. Motion to approve transfer application number 23-00984.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve transfer application number 23-00984. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Calling agenda item number 2, application number 23-00769, Kayak Cafe LP.
Hello, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the Commission. Emmanuel Dibakalam here instead of Devin Nakoba. To my right is the General Manager. I'll allow him, please state your name and spell it for the record.
Kazu Kato, K-A-Z-U, last name Kato, K-A-T-O.
We can answer any questions you may have.
All right, Mr. Sato.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. This application has 0 written protests, 0 letters in support. Applicant has met statutory requirements for the submission of this application. We'll state for the record that a summary of the January 25th, 2024 preliminary hearing testimony was provided to Commissioner Bach prior to the public hearing.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to testify either for or against this application? You see none, Commissioners? We have a motion.
Yep. Motion to approve application number 23-00769.
A second.
Been moved and seconded to approve application number 23-00769. Any nays or reservation? I also vote aye. The application is approved. Thank you. Okay, calling agenda item number 3, application number 23-00770 from Yarikuri Sushi LP.
Hello, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the Commission. Emmanuel Dibakalam here on behalf of Devin Nakoba, as well as Yarikuri Sushi LP. To my right is the GM. I'll allow him to spell his name for the record.
Kazu Kato, K-A-Z-U, last name K-A-T-O.
We can answer any questions you may have.
All right, Mr. Sato.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. This application has 0 written protests, 0 letters in support. Applicant has met statutory requirements for the submission of this application. We'll state for the record that a summary of the January 25th, 2024 preliminary hearing testimony was provided to Commissioner Bach prior to the public hearing.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience who'd like to testify either for or against this application? Seeing none, commissioners?
Move to approve application number 23-00770.
I second.
Been moved and seconded to approve application number 23-00770. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Very much.
Okay, so special licenses. Agenda item number 4, applications number 24-01553-1 to 24-01553-31. 11 Bishop LLC.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Christina O'Hara for the applicant. Last name is Ohira. And to my right is Daniel Teixeira, the general manager, and I will let him spell his name for the record.
Daniel Teixeira, DANIEL TEXEIRA.
We don't have any corrections to the investigative report, but we do request when approving the specials, if you could allow for a refund of any unused days. Thank you.
Sure. Commissioners, any questions?
I'll move to approve applications number 24-01553-1 to 24-01553-31.
I second.
Been moved and seconded to approve application number 24-01553-1 to 24-01553-31 inclusive, with the stipulation of allowing for refunded days if
Unused days.
unused. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, it's very long. Okay, calling agenda item number 5, application number 24-01573-1 to 24-01573-20 Ohana Hale Liquor LLC. Hi, could you state your name for the record, please?
Chris Ulu, CHRISULU.
Okay. Commissioners, questions?
So. So, Mr. Ono, after reading through the report that was provided to us in the packet, do have a couple questions. So I know that overall there was some reported noise issues, and I do know based off the report, people came and there was no violations found or incurred. But my question basically is, moving forward, my understanding is you're in the process of trying to make this a permanent license at some point, because these are what the specials are for.
Yes, we are.
Okay, what is going to be your plan going forward regarding how you're going to deal with noise issues or noise complaints as we move forward in this process? Because it is a wide open space. There is a lot of condominiums that are within that area, which will cause noise to travel a distance. So if this is approved, I'm just saying, as we look forward for the future to go toward a permanent license, what type of plans are you looking at or thinking of doing to help curb some of this noise issues? Because ultimately, if you're getting them now when you're temporary, you're going to get them when you get to your permanent, right? So that's my question.
Well, basically, we're still trying to get the parking situation going also in Waikiki. And we had events going on, but basically it was some kind of different kind of events at promoters that was doing loud music and real things that I wasn't in charge of, but I just gave them the issue to do it. But then I heard rumors going on and things that it didn't look good in the area, so I closed it down. We had events from January through February. But then I shut them completely, made a new change, so we're bringing on new music, Hawaiian music, and we're working with Fiji, one of our entertainer, so more of a mellow thing, and we're doing it more like a restaurant, weddings and all. If we do events, it's more like a wedding, anniversary, or kind of
Mhm.
more quiet
Okay.
events that we're doing. And we're opening it up for also a restaurant going in.
Okay. Just so you know, my concerns with noise and things like that is when we start looking at, I know it's on a weekend, but 2 a.m. starts giving me some concern because there is people want to sleep in those areas,
Yeah.
even though it is a Saturday. Yeah, so just so you know, those will be my concerns as we continue to watch this moving forward. So just as long as you continue to have an idea of what your plans will be as this goes on.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm pretty much taking charge of all the events that coming in and all.
Okay. Well, that's a good plan because you're the person that's coming in front of us to answer the questions
Yeah.
when it comes to you, right? So, okay, thank you. That's all the questions I had. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll move to approve application numbers 24-01573-1 to 24-01573-20.
I second.
Moved to and seconded to approve the application number 24-01573-1 through 24-01573-20 inclusive. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved. All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Calling agenda item number 6, application number 24-01584 from KI Ventures.
Sorry, Chair. The applicant's requested to reschedule to the March 28th, 2024 meeting.
Okay. We'll reschedule. Okay, calling agenda item number 7, application number 24-01605-1 to 24-01605-4. Aina Steak and Seafood LLC.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the Commission, Greg Nishoka, authorization appearing on behalf of the applicant. To my right is Kwanchai Onsomba, who is the sole member of the applicant. For the applicant, I have given her the spelling of her name to the hearings reporter prior to the start of today's hearing. We have received Chief Investigator, Licensing Supervisor Sato's report at the following comments. Basically, just to summarize, this is more like an upscale family steakhouse. With regard to the statement that minors under the age of 21 years of age are expected, that's the reason I think it's there, because it's a family style. Features a open kitchen where the diners can't see their steaks being prepared. They're featuring 30-day age dry aged steaks. Regarding the fingerprinting, that was accomplished this past Monday at 11:05 hours. Ms. Ombasat had her fingerprints taken. That report should be submitted to the commission shortly. We will submit the certified mailing return receipt upon receipt of the same to the commission. The zoning clearance, my understanding is the zoning clearance has been received by the commission. And I think that addresses all of the concerns that we had in reviewing the report.
Mr. Sato, did you have any other concerns?
Not at this time.
Only question I had is, and I don't know how this works, so I know that you said the fingerprinting was done and you're waiting to get that stuff back, right, from them. If we don't get that back prior to that April 15th date, a license won't be issued until we get it back, correct?
Correct.
Okay, just so it's on the record.
Well said that.
Everyone knows that, okay?
We're good with that.
Okay.
Commissioner.
Sorry.
And that's understood. clearly.
Commissioner, I can check it as soon as we're done.
Okay. Well, that's best to know then, okay? I have no other questions, thank you.
There's one more other comment. As far as we are not handling the permanent license application, by the way, we're just handling the specials. That's being handled by Mr. Luke.
Okay.
So I can't answer what's the status on that one. I know, I understand you asked that at the last.
Most usually I'll ask because when you start getting a lot of specials, we start getting worried about days.
Yeah.
Adding up or other things, but.
Right, I just want to make that clear that we're not handling that, so it's kind of out of our hands and I can't respond to that question.
Okay. It's fine. I have no other questions.
Move to approve applications number 24-01-605-1 to 24-01-605-4.
A second.
Been moved and seconded to approve applications number 24-01605-1 through 24-01605-4 inclusive. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved. Calling agenda item number 8, applications number 24-01607-1 through 24-01607-4. Ina Steak and Seafood LLC.
Again, good afternoon, Chair, members of the Commission, Greg Nishioka, authorized agent of preparing on behalf of the applicant. To my right is the sole member, Kwan Chai Oun Sambath, whose spelling I've given to the hearings reporter prior to the start of today's hearing. Again, same comments as the last application, just a family style steakhouse, again featuring 30-day dry aged steaks. As this will be a family style operation, it is anticipated that there will be diners under the age of 21, just to address that question. Fingerprinting is completed again this past Monday, and we will submit the certified mailing receipt upon the receipt of the same to the commission. And if you'll note on the zoning clearance, it does state that the zoning clearance has been obtained by the LIQ commission, and that's why I said that in the prior application. I think that's it.
I have no question.
I did have a question. Why did you do 2 sets of applications?
Basically, because we're limited to the amount of days.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
We anticipate filing more. To be honest, we're gonna file more
all right.
because there's still the application, it's, it has not been, we don't know where the application's at this point, so unfortunately, once we receive more word on that, the status of the application itself, they'll probably come back to us and say to file, additional additional requests for special licenses.
Understood. All right.
Move to approve applications number 24-01607-1 to 24-01607-4.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve application number 24-01607 01607-1 through 24-01607-4 inclusive. Any nays or reservations? I also vote aye. The application is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling agenda item number 19, application number 24-01612 from 808 Rise Court. Oh, I'm sorry, agenda item number 9. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Derek Stevens here with Free Spirits LLC. To my right is Ben Maramoto of 808 Rice Corp. Marumoto. We have no further changes to the investigative report.
Can you walk us through your event?
Yeah, it's a first time event held in conjunction with property managers, JLL, property owner, Kamehameha Schools, and it's a family-friendly night market with a controlled area beer garden.
And it's in a big lot.
Yeah,
Two lots.
it's probably the last one in Kaneohe of that size. Yeah. So it was repaved. They used to have a whole bunch of buses stored for I guess Kamehameha Schools was renting it out to somebody. They just did a revamp of the entire lot across. It's pretty much right across Winter Mall.
Commissioners, questions?
Okay, so some questions in regards to your beer garden area. So how many people are you going to be having or being able to maintain in your restricted area for the beer garden?
Yeah, so we have a pretty sizable space of 21,000 square feet. 16,000 of that will be usable space. However, we are limited to 300 people entry at a time maximum, which provides ample space and easier to control.
Okay. So next question will be, they're not going to be allowed to Once they enter the beer garden, are they gonna be allowed to go back out of the beer garden and come back in? Or are they gonna need to get all their food items before they come in?
Patrons will not be allowed to leave the beer garden with beverage. We have a control, security company controlling access in and outs to the controlled area, and it has crowd control barriers, metal crowd control barriers, blocking off said area.
Okay, and how many entrance points into the beer garden do you have?
We're planning on just that one.
Okay, because I don't, I'm just looking, because I see the entrances to the two driveways that come in, but I don't really see an entrance to the beer garden unless it's between those two green blocks that are there. I'm not
We're
sure.
putting it right down by F3.
By F3, okay. All right, got it. Next thing would be, so overnight parking. I'm assuming people are gonna have to park either at the Windward Mall or on the street within there. If they are gonna be parking at Windward Mall, do you guys have some kind of discussion with Windward Mall in case they need to leave their car there? I did see you guys already talked about setting up rideshare service locations, so thank you for that in advance. But usually we worry a little bit if people leave their cars or not, right?
So it's the position of JLL and Kamehameha Schools that safety is paramount. They are not going to be towing anybody, and if anyone asks us, we just have to, let them know. But I mean, we don't want to just let that on
no,
a regular basis, but yes. Or people leave it there all the time, but yes, so on April the 6th, no one will be towed from Windward Mall in its entirety.
I have no other questions. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve application number 24-01612.
A second.
Been moved and seconded to approve application number 24-01612. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved. Good luck. Okay, agenda item number 10, applications number 24-01649-1 to 24-01649-30. Kahala Senior Living Community.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the Commission. Robert Uyoka on behalf of Kahala Nui, present to my right, Mr. Craig Courts. He is the President and CEO. This is for a special nonprofit application. We did file an underlying club application in June 2022. That's been pending for a while. We did request for this application to be assigned, if it could be assigned to a different investigator that is not as backlog. We realize there is a backlog of applications. We did not hear back yet from the
questions. I have a couple this time. So, and for full disclosure, my great aunt lived at Kahala Nui for like 30 years, went through the whole memory care unit, and actually passed away there. But what somebody brought up to me, and who lived there, a couple of items. One, and I'm just noticing this now, you're licensing the entire big square block, right? Okay. The second is that you have obviously people there that are elderly and maybe are impaired in decision making and have interactions with drugs that are not the best. Have you made special accommodations for that?
And right now we're operating out of the restaurant. We're not serving in multiple outlets. It's just out of the restaurant. We just wanted our staff. It's a luxury place, and we wanted to have the flexibility to walk around and go to different areas. But the premises itself is completely secured. I mean, if you tried going in the front door, you can't even get through there without showing credentials and showing that you're supposed to be there. So that's why we're applying for a club license, because it is exclusive. It's not accessible to the public, and that's why we had to apply for this particular category. And we have professionals in multiple levels of healthcare on premises, so we're really careful and cognizant of patient safety and resident safety as well.
Okay, no, I just wanted to ask the question because this is unique in that fashion.
Move to approve applications number 24-01649-1 to 24-01649-30.
A second.
Moved and seconded to approve application number 24-01649-1 to 24-01649-30 inclusive. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Okay, calling agenda item 11, application number 24-01650 from Cools and Catering by Sinu Blonde. Oh, it's been a while.
I know. Just got back from-
There's like 7 of them.
I know.
Just got back from Mexico, so. I'm back. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Sheila O'Connell, Event Coordinator and Authorized Agent for Cools and Catering by Sinu Blonde. For our first application, we have a Filipino organization gala. We have the bar inside with 2 HPD on site.
Any questions?
So Ms.
There we
O'Connell,
go.
I'll make this comment as I've always made for any comment, any stuff that Cinnabon Catering does, that has the outside garden or outside area licensed off for possible liquor consumption. These events are great and none of them I'm worried about until we get to the bottom ones, which are graduation parties, and that season is coming up.
Yes.
Let's just make sure, I do notice though, you don't have the bar outside at all these times. All of them are inside, so that's great. But if we can also just make sure during these graduation parties, we are watching out in the courtyard for passing. Because obviously we will have a bunch of high school people that are graduating and want to make sure that we keep the alcohol in the right hands.
Yes.
Okay, that's my only comment and that'll be for all of them. Thank you.
All right.
The first rodeo. I'll make a motion to approve application number 24-01650.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve application number 24-01650. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved. Calling agenda item number 12, application number 24-01651 from Cools and Catering by Sinu Blonde Inc.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Sheila O'Connell, Authorized Agent and Event Coordinator for Sinu Blonde, Cools and Catering by Sinu Blonde Catering. Wait, Cools and Catering, yes, sorry. Here in this application, we have a wedding reception. We are expected at 150 people, so only 1 HPD on site and the bar will be inside.
Further questions? Motion to approve application number 24-01651.
I second.
Been moved and seconded to approve application number 24-01651. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved. Calling agenda item number 13, application number 24-01652 by Cools and Catering from Cools and Catering by Sinu Blonde Inc.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Sheila O'Connell, Event Coordinator and Authorized Agent for Cools and Catering by Sinu Blonde. Here we have a FCCH Gala, which is another Filipino organization. We do have approximately about 150 people expected with 1 HPD and the bar will be inside.
Move to approve application number 24-01652.
I second.
Moved and seconded to approve application number 24-01652. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved. Calling agenda item number 14, application number 24-01653 from Cools and Catering by Sinu Blonde Inc.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Sheila O'Connell, Event Coordinator and Authorized Agent for Cools and Catering by Sinu Blonde. Here in this application, we have a celebration of life expected at 200 people with 2 HPD and the bar will be inside.
Move to approve application number 24-01653.
I second.
Been moved and seconded to approve application number 24-01653. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved. Calling agenda item number 15, application number 24-01654 from Cools and Catering by Sinu Blonde Inc.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Sheila O'Connell, Event Coordinator and Authorized Agent for Cools and Catering by Sinu Blonde. This application, we have a graduation party with approximately 300 people. 3 HPD will be on site and this time the bar will be outside, excuse me. We'll be making sure there's no passing around of the alcohol outside as well.
The birthday party or the graduation?
Birthday and number 54 and graduation number 55. Hold on.
Wait, 54 is, oh, excuse me, this is our
Birthday.
first birthday.
Okay.
That's who that was.
Same thing, but birthday party, just kidding.
Yes,
The bar did.
except 60 people.
Okay,
Move to approve application number 24-01654.
A second.
it's been moved and seconded to approve application number 24-01654. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved. Calling agenda item number 16, application number 24-01655 from Pools and Catering by Cineblon.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Sheila O'Connell, Event Coordinator and Authorized Agent for Cruise and Catering by Cineblon. Here we have a graduation party. About 240 people are expected. The bar will be inside with 2 HPD on site.
Move to approve application number 24-01655.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve application number 24-01655. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved. Calling agenda item number 17, application number 24-01656 from Pools and Catering by Cineblon.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Sheila O'Connell, Event Coordinator and Authorized Agent for Cruise and Catering by Cineblon. Here we have another graduation party, about 200 people, 2 HPD on site, and the bar will be inside.
Motion to approve application number 24-01656.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve application number 24-01656. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved.
Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. See you in a month or two.
Yes.
Calling agenda item number 18, transfer application number 23-01219 from U.S. Property Investment Fund LP.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commission members, Kenneth Wu appearing for the applicant, and to my right, Nora Forondo. N-O-R-A-F-O-R-O-N-D-O. Foronda. Sorry, F-O-R-O-N-D-A. She is the Assistant Comptroller for the applicant. We have received the investigative report and prepared to comment as to that. I'm assuming there will be questions regarding page 4, the complaint history. We're the transferee or the prospective transferee. So whatever happened with the existing licensee, it happened. But we are aware that this is a concern to the neighborhood. And if you take a look at the complaint history, recently, there hasn't been that many complaints. And one of the reasons is that the applicant has had exercised a temporary license for the premises for most of 2023. And in conjunction with, I should just take one step back. This is a hotel. There is a 3rd floor that is kind of open air. And it is surrounded on 3 sides by condominiums. And the complaints come from probably the condominium on the Mauka side. Okay, so we worked in conjunction with the restaurant licensee who operates a restaurant on the 3rd floor to do certain things to minimize the noise impacts. One is that any speakers that may be used for any events all face the zoo, which is, there's no condominium on that side. They don't allow any music outside after 10 p.m. They have the manager on duty has had a decibel reading machine to monitor any music that's too loud and take action. So we believe that we've taken these actions, but we've had the help of the restaurant licensee to do that. It makes it easier for the neighborhood.
So when I look at your floor plan on third level, the area that's not included, is that the restaurant called the Deck? Or,
Yeah, that's the blue.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the Deck.
Okay.
Right. And there are sliding doors, by the way. We're not that can block off sound as needed. which will go into play as we will have those doors used with the restaurant's help to keep the noise inside.
And is the expectation that your neighbors will call the hotel if there are issues with sound, or they
They have.
expected to call the deck? Okay.
They have, we have discussed issues with them already.
So the only question I will have is, I know the deck area on the third floor is part of the restaurant. Do you plan yourself as the hotel to use any of that other open space on that third floor with any type of amplified music or anything of that nature? And the reason I ask that is that's going to obviously increase the amount of sound in that
Sure.
area, right?
Sure.
And if there is, what plan do you have to minimize that sound going forward, right? Because I mean, obviously, I think 10 o'clock is a great time, right? That gives people ample time to sleep
Right.
and things like that. We also know that, as the weekends come on and we're coming into summer, there are gonna be times where people are going to want to have
Right.
a little bit later, right? So
Sure.
we just want to make sure, if you're planning to use that area for amplified music, what type of plans does the hotel have to minimize the sound travel?
Yeah, we don't use those
Okay.
open areas very much.
Okay.
But if we do use it, again, the use of any speakers or anything like that will be facing the other way. We'll have the decibel reading machine, we will monitor it.
Okay.
Right, and adjust it accordingly.
Thank you. I have no other questions.
Move to approve transfer application number 23-01219.
I second.
Been moved and seconded to approve transfer application number 23-01219. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved.
Thank you.
Calling agenda item number 19, application number 24-01569 from HSI Honolulu Joint Venture Company.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the Commission. Robert Uyoka on behalf of HMS Host at the Honolulu International Airport. Present to my right, Mr. Chris Kadohiro. He's the Senior Director of Operations, first name CHRIS, last name KADOHIRO. This is for the catering license for the temporary bar located in the Mauka concourse. I don't want to call it the Hawaiian Air concourse, but as far as I know, I've seen a lot of Hawaiian Air flights coming out of there. This is a temporary bar that's located, when you walk in the front side, and we are contemplating potentially a permanent license, but a decision hasn't been made yet on that. Also, I wanted to thank Supervisor Investigator Daniel Soth for getting this on the agenda. Our existing catering license expires soon, so thank you so much.
Any questions?
Yeah.
All right.
Make a motion to approve application number 24-01569.
I second.
Been moved and seconded to approve application number 24-01569. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Calling agenda item number 20, application number 24-1673 from Sodexo America. Hello.
Good afternoon, Commission. Justin Solusa, General Manager, Authorized Agent for Sodexo America. This agenda 20 is for the Symphony. 2 nights, Friday, Saturday. Projected attendance no more than 1,000. Right now, ticket sales are about 600 for each. Yeah. Any questions?
So for this one as a member of the Theater Board of Directors. All right. Noted. Then Commissioner Bach is recusing himself for this agenda item. Okay, commissioners, any questions?
Make a motion to approve application number 24-01673.
I second.
Been moved and seconded to approve application number 24-01673. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved. Okay, calling agenda item number 21, and I believe you don't have any more symphony items, do you?
No, this is
Okay,
a.
okay.
Okay.
Agenda item number 21, and no more fancy stuff. Calling agenda item number 21, application number 24-01674, Sodexo America.
Good afternoon, Commission. Justin Solusad, Sodexo General Manager and Authorized Agent. This one is for May Day Hula Show, annual May Day Hula Show at the Waikiki Shell. Projected attendance 1,500.
Motion to approve application number 24-01674.
I second.
Been moved and seconded to approve application number 24-01674. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Calling agenda item number 22, request number 2024-00753 from Shokudo Japanese LLC.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Ryan Cole here for Shokudo Japanese LLC, manager for also Kamiki Shokudo regarding our extended premise request. Are there any questions?
Okay. So you're just adding a little
Patio,
patio.
yeah, outdoor patio.
Sure, any questions?
So couple questions, the two doorways that go into this patio level, is that the entrance, is that your only entrance as well to the restaurant? Or is that just an exit point that would go to the patio?
It's our second entrance. So we have two entrances, one on the front side, one on the back side as well.
Okay. And then, so this patio, is it raised off the ground or is it
About an inch.
off the ground? And so what is going to be your partitions or your guardrails that separate your licensed space from non-licensed?
We plan to put up temporary partitions.
Temporary partitions, okay. Do you know if you're going to have someone stationed out there? Well, I guess how many tables are you looking at?
Roughly about 4 to 5.
35,
Yeah.
okay.
And then servers will be out there taking care of guests, obviously.
I guess the only thing I would suggest is, this is kind of up to you, but if you do have large parties out there that have younger children or, you know, teenagers, we're gonna have someone kind of just keep an eye on. I don't want things either being passed around to people on the table or passed over your temporary guardrail to whoever's out and walking about, okay? But beyond that, that's the only questions or
Is this the patio on the 11th?
11th Avenue, yeah.
side?
Correct.
Make a motion to approve request number 24-00753.
I second.
Been moved and seconded to approve request number 24-00753. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The motion is approved. Thank you. Okay, calling request number 24-01664 from Dustin Grable, manager, Restaurant Hope LLC.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Taiki Hayakawa on behalf of, this is for Uncle Paul's Corner Store LLC. On my right is manager of the LLC, and we'll be happy to answer any questions. Spelling of my name is TAIKIHAYAKAWA.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Dustin Grable, DUSTINGRABLE.
Okay. So you're requesting a waiver so that we can issue a temporary license, but I think we are going to have some issues here. Mr. Sato, do you want to speak to it or?
Just one point of clarification.
Oh, go ahead.
Commissioner, the request is a waiver to be able to file the temporary application. Just so.
Oh,
just a file.
Just a file.
Okay.
Okay.
So. Yes, my question on the waiver portion, right, is the place that you're taking over, right, to put a liquor license in, was it previously a liquor licensed establishment?
It was not, and so this goes into the it is mentioned in the letter toward the end. We did provide an analysis, but This goes to the granting of the application, a temporary application, but this is with regards to HRS 28132, where there is a case by case fact-based exception that we would like to request in the temporary application when we do file it. And here it's accepted as otherwise approved by the commission, where we understand that a significant concern for the commission would be that if there's the reason why for that rule is that if there hasn't been a place that, for example, here where retail, where they were selling alcohol before, then the neighborhood may be surprised, they may be upset, they wouldn't have basically in their own backyard, people consuming, selling alcohol. But here, we believe the exception should apply because, first of all, it is in Manoa Marketplace, where the customers in the neighboring communities have been going with the expectation that there would be retail sales. And I'm sorry if I'm going over what's in the letter, but there's no surprise. There should be that concern should be we believe it should be alleviated. And as we stated, we do not have an alternative in our situation because it is a retail liquor store. So we would ask the commission to consider the burden that it would be to the business, which would not survive without this temporary license, if we would have to wait for I believe around 9 to 12 months currently.
Okay, I mean, I think the alleviation portion in regards to whether or not sales are taking place there, I think we all can read through the letter seeing that, it is a Manoa Marketplace, but I do think there's other portions of the laws for a liquor temporary license, such as a floor plan, such as all these other things that would previously be within our records, that we would not have to almost start over a brand new license review of a place that you're asking us to provide you a note to put in for a temporary license, which that establishment has some idea already within our system, right? And I think that is going to be the dilemma that this commission will have to deal with, because technically you're asking us to provide alleviation to a rule to an establishment we had no jurisdiction over to begin with. We didn't have any jurisdiction over who was there previously, right? So where that business closed, you want to put in a temporary 5-day notice, but that business was not with us at all. So I think that's going to be the situation you're gonna have as a commission here, us debating to approve or not approve. Right, and then it becomes what part of RHS is there, and whether or not those are part of things that we have to abide by because they are RHSs, not so much the rules of us. Just so you know, that's where I'm at personally right now in this whole looking through the two of these. Okay.
Could I ask a question?
Yes.
So I see your letter is dated March 11th and you're hoping to open in May of 2024. That's really rapid. Were there some sort of extenuating circumstances or a reason for the delay in the request of the waiver leading up to this? Because I imagine you've been preparing this for a while, but opening up your establishment.
Yes, it has been a journey. The process of building, negotiations with landlords, building permits has taken precedence over the commitment to pursuing the liquor licenses. And so it's something that we've been anxiously hoping to be prepared to apply for. And as things rapidly speed up with our build out, we are realizing the need to, speed up this process. And so we are a little behind the ball on it. And it was results of just unexpected circumstances in our building process and our leasing process. Yeah.
I would like to also add that there are the 3 locations trying to be put forth at once, and so there is some extra time that needs to be put in to do those things. As well as we understand that we are asking the commission for a special exception here under HRS 28132, and which would be more further explained, and we would present our application if we can get the approval of the commissioners to do so.
Okay, so I think I at least understand your position a bit better. Any other commissioner? Do you have more questions, please? I was gonna ask Mr. Sato to explain at least
Okay.
some of the licensing side.
That'd be
but
great.
If you, any other commissioners?
No,
Okay.
I read you the letter.
Mr. Sato, could you give the position of licensing?
Okay, so the request is based off of 28132A1. The ability for the applicant to fulfill A2 and A3 would be impossible, as commission does not have any record of any type of premises at that address. So as an agency, we couldn't actually say that a temporary license could actually even go there, because we don't have anything. And that'll be kind of circumventing the law itself under A2, A3 in itself.
Oh, I'm sorry. You'd like to go into executive session? Yes. Okay, so I would entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So we'll.
Oh, you actually have to say the whole thing.
I got it. The commission may go into an executive session for the following reasons: to consult with the board's attorney on questions and issues on a matter pertaining to the board's powers, duties, privileges, immunities, and liabilities, and entertain a motion to go into an executive session for this purpose.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to go into executive session. Any members of reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. Here in executive session. Okay, we're back. All right, a couple of questions.
Yes.
First one, you mentioned 3 properties. We have 2 in front of us today.
Yes, we actually didn't file for the third one yet. That's in the works, but.
All right.
One being-
Just when we're discussing, we.
Oh,
I do mention
yes.
3, so that. The second item is that while you're asking for a waiver to apply for a temporary license, we're disinclined to grant that because it is not within our authority to grant a temporary license if you move forward. So it seems like not a good use of all of our resources to go in that fashion. No, go ahead.
Oh, I would like to respond to that by saying that, we would like the opportunity, again, as you said, we are applying for or we're asking for a waiver of the rule to be able to apply it. And the waiver of the rule, the elements, as we understand it, under 381.17.8 is number 1, if the applicant would suffer hardship. Number 2, if it would unduly burden or adversely affect any affected parties, and number 3, whether it would be consistent with the rules, the purpose of the rules, and of Chapter 281. And we believe that we, at least for those elements, we believe that we were able to discuss it in length, and hopefully the commission has accepted those arguments. But I understand that the primary concern is the 281.32, which is the narrow exception part. And so what we would like to ask the commission is if we can have the opportunity to submit the temporary application by having this waiver of the 5-day rule. That way we can further discuss the 281, and hopefully we would have that opportunity to be able to present that.
Do you want?
Okay, so this is what I'm going to say. My question to you, I guess, would be this. You already know that there's a backlog that you stated, right? To get a permanent license if you start from the beginning. If this commission at this point grants you the ability to waive, right? If we were to go and be inclined to that, and then you go through the process and we deny you that license at that point, there's other issues you may have to figure out how to solve, because denying a application at some point also slows you down in putting in for your regular license that you might have to do, which is already going to take you that time that you said, right? Which also, to some degree, there's concern here about circumvention of the public knowing everything that's going on there, because it was not a licensed liquor space to begin with, which there is a portion of us taking our people taking your license request stops there. And then it would be denied in a sense by them, and then you come and ask us, and then you're going to take that whole process to take even longer, putting you more in a hardship of what it is. So this commission could rule possibly on your 5-day waiver, but then you're stuck in the same situation, because when it gets to that point, we would be inclined not to be able to possibly approve it. And so we're in a sense trying to figure out for you what is lesser of a waste of time on both ends of the spectrum, right? To allow you to get that liquor retail license moving quicker. Because ultimately you did a build out, you did a license, a landlord consent to sell liquor, but no one thought about doing the liquor license. So there's a concern there too for us, right? Because we know how long the backlog is. And I'm assuming everybody that's getting a liquor license looks at that and figures out, oh gosh, what do I gotta do? How many specials am I gonna have to get? How many this, and this, doing a permanent, right? So that's somewhat of the conundrum for this group here. Because I'll be honest, I'm inclined to deny providing the 5-day waiver, because I rather it be start from the beginning, go through the process, and then everybody has the opportunity to voice their opinion publicly. And I know it's a hardship, but then that was a decision when the idea of asking your landlord if you could sell alcohol or doing a build out to make a retail space kind of came up to your client,
And it's not because we are not sympathetic, right, to quickly using spaces that are outfitted and you have costs involved. It's that we do not have the authority within statute to grant the temporary license. And so unless there were some other authority, which you're trying to indicate, but we're already indicating that that's not gonna work, so.
Yes, and thank you very much for all of your comments and questions. We do understand the commission's concerns, as well as there are multiple areas where we would need to really talk about and think about. But what I would like to really, I guess, point out here, and I understand, the commission has already received the letter, so I'm not trying to reiterate and do that, but the section that which I understand is at issue was added in the letter, but the analysis was included because we did anticipate that would be the first thing in the commission's minds, but it was added as to provide that we are aware of it and that this is what we are thinking, but it isn't something that was the put in as the main part of this present request. This present request is the main focus was the satisfying the elements in which we could obtain a waiver to be able to file the temporary application. And so I do understand that the commission has concerns about to be frank, if this would be a not a good way to spend our resources and time, but we would like that opportunity to be able to, when we file the temporary license, and at that time, it's the commission, we could make that decision at that time. But here, this request is not a full analysis, and it's not a.
Let's stop you for a moment.
Yes.
Corp counsel.
I understand that we have you have the standards in which to fulfill the waiver. Now, say it's granted, would you be filing a temporary license?
For Uncle Paul, yes, correct.
Would you be able to meet the standard in which the premises has been operating for at least 1 year, the same class and kind of license that the request say that is that the premises was operating for at least 1 year with the same class and kind of license that is requested by the temporary. Would you be able to meet that standard?
So that I understand this 281-31. And that part we understand, and as we stated in the letter, the answer to that question would be no. However, the exception to that standard at the very end, where it says except as otherwise approved by the commission, was that we wanted to ask the commission, or when we do the actual temporary license application, we wanted the commission to consider our arguments that we would want the commission to grant us that it's narrow fact-based exception, of course, with the extraordinary care of considering that because of
would you be filing a new license application at the same time?
My understanding is that yes, we will be. We're going to be filing. This is the next agenda item, but we would be filing for that as well.
Free to ask more questions.
We're trying to help, right?
Yeah, no,
But,
please go ahead.
I just, we're trying to circumvent this, and I feel that personally, I feel like you're jumping the line and that we don't have anything to compare. We're sorry, but this isn't the way it's done. And that's my opinion. We're just trying to help.
Yeah, I think our interpretation, right? Your interpretation is that we have this exception power, and we I don't think we have a history of ever exercising that, or that it's possible to even exercise in the fashion that you are proposing. And I think we are disinclined at this time, like, no matter what you kind of brought up to us, it would still probably be a no when it came up for a temporary license, as we interpret this, because we cannot break the statute. So this is not a very useful endeavor for all of us. Commissioner Hollinger.
I mean, the thing I was going to state is I do believe, as we went through this, right? We've granted waivers of the 5-day exception for individuals that have had licensed spaces that closed, had a licensed space there, was closed for 10 years, but we had record of them.
Right.
We've given those people the 5-day waiver to apply for it, and we'll see what would happen, right? The problem that I see, and I'm disinclined to approve granting of the waiver myself, because ultimately I see us coming back and you then asking us then to look through a very narrow margin to make a decision to waive an RHS by that very narrow margin, which then we have to determine, are we willing to give that granted narrow margin on a case-by-case basis to everybody? And that would be a lot of work, I think, for everybody, which would then also put more on the licensing investigation side that's already backlogged to some degree.
The narrow exception of the statute is for the time of filing, right, of the prior temporary, in terms of it being dormant. And so it is not within our authority to do that.
May I,
Please.
I believe he wants to.
Yeah. Oh, no, I just wanted to say I understand what's being said. You know, that last interpretation line of that exception by the commissioners was, I think, what we're hoping for. And understanding that that's not even a possibility is, you know, understood. I think we have, as mentioned, we have 3 spaces that we're leasing. The space that we're discussing now was previously a 3,000 square foot Bank of Hawaii that didn't previously hold a liquor license. We have taken on that space and carved it into 2 smaller spaces, 2,000 square foot restaurant and 1,000 square foot retail. The 2,000 square foot restaurant, we have not applied for a temporary license with the understanding that we could open as a restaurant and sell food. and we know many restaurants do that. But the 1,000 square foot retail space, we are struggling to see how we will be successful without a liquor license. I understand that we should have gotten the applied for the liquor license. The poor judgment on my part was the understanding that the liquor license process, permanent process, is taking so long. We're going to have to come to some sort of solution anyways. And so the agenda became, how do we find a temporary or specialty license for this, knowing that our timeline of 5 months or 6 months of construction still wouldn't have a liquor license with the backlog that we're encountering. So the guidance I was kind of following was, well, we're gonna have to figure out a different solution anyways. So let's apply all at the same time. So we are applying for all 3 permanent liquor licenses in the next few days. Where the next agenda today is a temporary license for a space that previously held a liquor license, which I understand. And so our hope was the kind of acknowledgement that we're aware of the situation. So we're not asking for a temporary license for the 2,000 square foot restaurant that we can open without a license. We're hoping that that last interpretation could apply to the 1,000 square foot space that we are fearful of our success without an exception in the space that is not a restaurant that cannot sell food. Our allowed inventory from our landlord is wine, spirits, liquor, as well as gourmet food items and specialty bar and dining accessories. That accounted on our kind of a vision as, 20% of the business. We're now in anticipation of what's being discussed now not going in our favor. pivoting the concept to focus on the 20% to be the 100%, in anticipation of having to wait for the permanent liquor license. So we're hoping that that window of time could be smaller. So the temporary license would take time. We'd open without the liquor license, the temporary license. Our hope was that that window would be between our opening day selling retail goods and the day we get approved for either a temporary or the permanent would be shrunken down. We understand our situation to be a matter of how long will we have to pivot and try to figure out the alternative business model, knowing that the liquor license. And so I think this was a hopeful attempt to interpret that last sentence as maybe the commissioners will have the authority, which and be willing to give us this exception, knowing that even if we had applied for our liquor license 6 months ago at the beginning of our build out, we probably still would be in the same boat today. And so, yeah. Coulda, woulda, shoulda with applying with everything a while ago. But I think that the thought process was we're gonna have to come up with a creative solution anyways. So let's all do it all in one swing. Not the wisest decision, but here we are. And so thank you for your consideration. I do understand what's being said and we will do our best to move forward without the liquor license. And so, yeah.
Thank you for your understanding.
No.
You know, I think that if we felt there was a margin that we had the authority, we would act upon it, but we do not.
I believe that.
It's the,
Thank you.
Understanding of the commission that we do not. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so you have, I believe, two choices. We can vote and deny the request, or you could withdraw the request. I believe that's correct, right? And so up to you if you would like to withdraw.
Please.
Oh, yeah, if we can,
Well, the denying the request is appealable, I suppose, but I don't think that will get you very far.
we would like to withdraw on the request.
Right, I think we need a motion to accept the.
Number, hold on.
Yeah, so I'll make the motion.
Yeah, okay.
So my motion is going to be to approve the request to withdraw request number 24-01664.
I second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve a request to approve a motion to withdraw the request number 24-01664. Are there any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The request is withdrawn. Calling agenda item number 24, request number 24-01666 from Dustin Grable, Restaurant Hope LLC. All right.
Good afternoon, members of the commission. I'm Taiki Hayakawa, already spelled it. Taiki Hayakawa on behalf of Restaurant Hope LLC, DBA Lady Elaine. And to my right is Dustin Grable, as previously introduced.
Okay.
Happy to take any questions at this time.
So this was, I do have a question. This isn't contiguous with your other property, right? It's not,
continues
because the bank was kind of standalone.
Correct,
Okay,
correct.
so
It's
you
a
can't
different,
come out.
it's on the other
Got it.
side.
All right. Yeah. All right. Okay.
So the only thing I had a question is the cancellation date for Corner Bar and Grill 5/10/18, is that the correct date that it was canceled or that it ended? Mr. Sotto, or if anybody knows.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I would have to check on that.
Okay.
There was a actual transfer that we need to clarify. There was a possible denial of a license. So, I mean, it would have stopped the way we're at this point because we need to look at the file and go back into our records to see what happened.
Okay.
All right.
I have other questions and I'm good.
Yeah, good. Move to approve request number 24-01666.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve request number 24-01666. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The request is approved. Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Okay. Motion for adoption of decisions and order agenda items number 25 through 28.
Yes, Chair, motion for adoption of the decision and order for agenda items 25 through 28 inclusively.
I second.
Been moved and seconded to adopt decisions and order agenda items number 25 through 28. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The motion carries. Agenda item number 29, Liquor Commission, discussion of processes and procedures outline. The outline and agenda for today, we're going to learn about the budgeting process. Mr. Patilas.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Sal Patilos, Administrator of the Honolulu Liquor Commission. And with me is Acting Administrative Service Officer, Kiko Reyes. One of the things that you had requested was to provide some idea about the process and by which the budget for the agency is created. And we have today for you essentially a primer. And it's to provide an overview of the process. And I think if need be, if you want additional information, you could do that perhaps at a later date. But at this point in time, we just want to give you an idea of how it goes through the year, the estimates that are created, how eventually we have a request for operating budget that we present to the not only to the mayor's office, but also to the city council. And with that, I'll turn it over to Ethan.
So my apologies, this should have been part of the board packet, but it will later be uploaded.
All right.
So this operating budget calendar was actually retrieved from the FY 2025 proposed operating program and budget, and it is on the city website. And rather than going from the beginning, July, I'm gonna just start from present moving forward. So beginning of March, budget was submitted to City Council, and a little over a week ago, we attended the council budget briefings and answer questions to the council members in person. And then from this point to June, the City Council will carefully deliberate proposed budget. In fact, today I had to respond some of the questions that I received, follow-up questions. And that will continue. And currently, third reading of budget bills, council is scheduled on June 5th. And then finally, June 15th, that's the deadline for City Council to adopt the proposed budget for the FY 2025. On the same day, that's the day the Liquor Commission announces the deductible threshold for the gross liquor sales report filing. And then July 1st, we start collecting the additional license fee.
Could you explain the deductible for us, just so that we're all?
Yes, actually, that will come with a later slide when I start beginning talking about the excess. And then new fiscal year starts on July 1st. And then immediately following, we start a new budget process for FY 2026. I usually start with a revenue estimate, and that will follow with compiling budget outlook for the 2026 that takes place between September to December. And then budget is reviewed with managing director and a BFS director in mid-December. And then after that, January, February, we begin finalizing the budget to submit to the council at the beginning of March. That's the full cycle. And that this entire process ensures that the policies are followed by detailing cost, comparison is done, and also performance measure is also presented. And that is the way that they can be, we can be evaluated throughout the fiscal year. You can, next. Okay, now, I wanted to show how the budget, the appropriated figure versus actual, and FY23 is the last year we have both. So this is FY23 budgeted amount on the left column, and that was approved by City Council at the time. And then 2023, that's the actual figure. So as you can see on the right column, you can see the lapse. Also, some people think of it as a saving or also excess of fund, the ending, so excess fund. So that's what we always get questioned on. What happened to this excess lapse amount? So, and then next.
Oh, can we ask some questions?
Okay, Yeah, so the only thing I mean, I do understand, right? So your FY23 appropriated budget gives you amount of money that you can spend, but you don't have to spend it. But obviously there was some money that was lifted, put over there for equipment and things of that nature, but yet it was not spent. Was there a reason can you give us reasons why money may be budgeted for that area but not spent? Only because obviously as we look forward in these situations, there's equipment that this group of commissioners do believe we may need. And how do we use some of that idea, right? Because obviously it's a savings, but realistically, sorry to say it, if you don't use it, it goes somewhere. We budgeted it for a reason. So was there reasons we didn't use it, or was there other items that didn't get purchased?
And a corollary to that, right, is that in any of these categories like salaries, that's budgeted headcount and not being able to fulfill all of the headcount. Is that kind of the way we should think about it? Is like, this is the upper framework of what we think we may want, but we constantly probably not getting.
Probably just what you're saying is build in a vacancy factor.
Yeah, like we can't have an open head count unless we have a budgeted salary for it. Is that our understanding?
So when we budget for the salary, that's the position we intend to fill. So if abolish any of the position, then we won't be able to fill because we have to have a budget for it.
Yeah.
So as far as salary, the lapse come from the fact we weren't able to fill as intend to do.
So when, I guess a follow-up question to that, kind of to piggyback yours, when we make a salary budget, is that for instance, right, when we heard the Wei Chun report, we had so many vacancies, correct? Is the budgeted salary we have saying that all would be the amount we would spend if all of those positions are filled?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, just because as we continue recruitment and wanting to fill positions, I want to make sure we're budgeting to be able to pay for those positions as well.
Correct.
Sounds like we have the money, but the money needs to be earmarked for the positions to still be alive, active,
And in fact, if I may interject, for the FY 2025 budget, we did request funding for all our positions. And in addition to that, collective bargaining agreement mandated increases.
And even the current expense, so throughout this budget process, although it's just one object line there, but that each line item, I have to report why there is a lapse and justification for moving forward and why am I requesting the same amount.
Right.
Whatnot, but current expense, sometimes, we intend to purchase something, but maybe didn't need it, or for example, like, we want to buy more computers, but, I'm sorry, that's not a good example. Let's say furniture, but we we didn't hire. We didn't hire investigator at that time. So now that more investigators coming on board, we are ready to use those funds. But earlier in the year, we didn't have need to do so.
So is equipment like capital goods that can be depreciated and expenses just like?
No, for our case, the equipment that it's shown there is for the LCIS development, the contract.
That's what I was gonna ask,
Yeah.
actually. So
Okay.
that's software development costs are included as equipment.
Yes,
Okay, good.
so. And then next.
I'm sorry if I missed this, but the money that we don't spend, is that banked for us or is that given up?
That's what we
So
think.
next will be the slide.
Am I getting ahead of myself on that?
No,
Okay.
no, that's everybody's question.
Okay.
Actually. So before I go into detail, I just wanted to point out three things from the HRS 281-17.5. Basically, the money or fees that we collect by the Liquor Commission have to be expended for the costs and the expenses directly related to operational costs or administrative costs incurred by Liquor Commission. That's number one.
And commissioners, if you'd like to look, it's in your statute book, 281-17.5B.
And then second point is actually subsection E. That's where they talk about how we can retain 20% of.
Did you say 281.75?
17.
Oh, 17. Got it.
Paragraph E.
Thank you. And then second point that I like to make is the subsection E. That's where it states that we are allowed to retain 20% of the budget as an ending fund balance. Us being a self-funded agency, assuming that we fill all the vacancies and expend everything we budgeted for, we need a fund to start beginning year. So that's what it states there. And the third one is that anything beyond 20% has to be returned to the existing licensee.
Use it as license.
And now I'm gonna discuss about that excess that City Council always asks. The excess is, so if you can look at let's look at the FY 23, since we had a previous slide. So the proposed operating budget, the 4.5 million, that right there should match with what was approved by the council. However, that doesn't include with other miscellaneous expenditures. Those are the provisionals and also case it's called the central administrative service cost. Some of the cost that is returned to the general fund, like accounting service that we use from the BFS. Those are returned. So those are, with those expenditures together, you can see the total budget. It shows 7.8 million under the column. Okay, and then that's plus ending fund balance of 20% of that budget is what we need to operate. So that's the bottom line that we need to generate. And then break down, and then now I'm gonna talk about breakdown of beginning fund balance. The carryover, the excess I was showing earlier, the lapse amount. That true excess is the total beginning balance, fund balance being 1.8. The true excess is only 228,000 because we need that 20%. So that excess, so now below calculation of additional license fee is plugged into to figure out the additional license fees. All the revenues or fees are set fees except the additional license fee. Additional license fee is not a set fee, rather we calculate based on how much we need to sustain the operation plus 20%. And then use of application of deductible, that threshold, we collect the amount that we need. So as you can see that if we didn't have the excess fund, the licensee would pay much more than what it states there. But with excess fund, that much less we need to collect. So once I figure out that amount, the additional license fee that I need, I start determining how much deductible I need to set in order to collect the additional license fee amount. So higher the deductible, the less that we collect. So for example, last year, our deductible was 34,000. So that means that any licensee who made more than 34,000 gross liquor sales will owe us money. This year, I think although I don't want to officially state, but we are expecting higher deductible. So let's just for the example's sake, if it went up to 200,000, now they do not have to pay if you make less than 200,000. That's how deductible is calculated and set.
So the more efficient we are, the higher the deductible and thus the lower the fees that the licensees are paying.
Correct.
And so for items that would be of their benefit, like in capital expenditures on software and stuff like that, while it would lower the deductible because it has to be paid for somehow.
Correct.
That's the somehow.
Correct.
Are we all on board with that?
I'm like 80% there. I gotta
Okay.
study this a little.
All right. I did homework beforehand, so it's not like yeah. Wow. I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
You're
that guy.
Okay, all right.
So that's the primer. Like we said before, it's a lot of moving parts. I mean, we're looking at a lot of estimates over time. And you know, as Akiko stated, there's a true up sometime in June, July timeframe, and then it begins again. So Commissioner Sakamoto, if you're only 80% there and you need the additional 20%, would be happy to speak with you or anybody else who would like more information.
You're gonna put it in the board packet. I'll study it. What's the resource that you went to for the narrative on it?
No, I kind of read through
Read
this
through
part
this
before,
part.
and then I was like, how does all of these funds move around? And at least I had a general idea before we started.
I'll look through it and move out a few questions. Yeah, thanks.
And so there's our fees, which are used to fund the operations, and then there are the fines that are supposed to be for public education and other items.
And we earmark that accordingly. Is in like an 80, so it was like an 80-20 application to application fees to fines.
So
in terms of the revenue.
in terms of revenue for the agency, when you look at applicant renewal fees account for approximately, well, given the latest data that renewal fees have accounted for approximately 40% of our revenue through FM08, fiscal month 8 of fiscal year 2024. And the additional license fees have accounted for about 50-ish%, 52%. And fines are relatively small in terms of, so it's not an 80-20 split. So relatively small.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, you get to see how many times.
Yeah, that's also.
And that can vary. You know, I think we estimate a certain amount and it may very well be that we collect less than that. We may very well collect less than that this year.
Thanks. Thank you very much. And this is a good way for us to kind of start to get a little bit of a handle and keep on going through this. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, you're up again.
Once again, San Patilas Administrator, Honolulu Liquor Commission. Really not a lot to report this week. We met with Deputy Managing Director Krishna Jayan to again update him and about where we are in terms of the system review recommendations. We've moved in every one of them. Not all of them have come to fruition, and some of them I've got spidey sense tingling. But you know, we continue to move forward with those, and I think also I think to report on is that we have begun we're now in the process of getting the formal approvals to obtain contract employees to help address the issue with regard to licensing staff.
And now that we have a slightly better idea of the budget, does that come out of expense or does that come out of salary?
It'll come out of salaries.
Okay, so those funds can be repurposed as long as it's for personnel. Okay.
That's my understanding. Don't quote me on it.
Okay.
So I'm still so new that I've got to say that.
Okay, so I guess the question I'll ask, and it doesn't have to be answered now. I mean, just as if we get an answer for that. Based off contracted work, right? If we get contracted work and then we start looking at our next fiscal year budget, do we then budget for the extra contracted work in addition to all of the open slots that we have, or all the slots we have at the commission? I mean, just that doesn't have to be answered now.
But let me
Talk with
let me
the
follow up on that.
ASOs and talk with the budgeting portion, because obviously I think we need to continue to figure out those areas, because I still think whatever positions that we don't have filled, even with the contracted work, we need to get filled, because we're going we need the more bodies here to help everybody get better and move along, man.
Move the process.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Commissioner, I think acting ASO Akiko has something to say.
Oh.
I forgot, I thought you left. Sorry.
I know it's not for lack of effort.
But the contract position is not budgeted, but the salary come from the vacancy position.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a little different than I thought then. Because I thought the budget needed to be there to fill the position.
So we're
But what you're
taking
telling me is
empty
you're,
the position and using that money for contract labor.
Because we
So-
currently have vacancies,
but then that means you can't fill the vacancy then because you're using it for contract labor?
correct?
Okay.
So
we
that's
are
why I'm
looking-
saying, I think what we have
Yeah.
to figure out, right, is if we know. That's okay, so based on that, that's why I'm saying what we probably have to do, looking at budgeting going forward, right? For the next fiscal year, I still think whatever vacancies we have budgeted now need to be budgeted for. And we also need to figure out a way to budget for contracted work that we want to increase to provide movement, because I don't also want us to stifle our movement forward, trying to fill LC1 positions, because we are using money, you know what I mean?
Yeah. totally agree
Contracted
with you.
money, because obviously everybody is saying we have a problem with not having enough LC1s, right?
We have to get that outside the salary bucket. I
Yeah.
agree.
So I mean,
that-
just figuring a way, that's
Yeah.
how we're gonna have to figure.
So
agree.
these are contract positions that we are requesting is not intended for temporary or short term. We actually are creating the contract to make it permanent. So we have a plan to fill the vacancy position that we are using for that contract person to eventually become permanent,
Okay. Another layer of complexity.
if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
It makes sense.
Kinda.
It makes sense.
But why do you have to contract them? Why can't you just put them into the position? Is it because it's a different type of role?
It is because for this particular position, it is very difficult to fill externally, and it's gonna take some time. So in the meantime, we are filling the contract. And then, and also that it's for LCI 3, level 3. It is, it requires minimum qualification being having the liquor industry knowledge. So that makes it difficult to hire. I mean, it's not, we can still hire, but we expect to take a long time to externally hire somebody. Usually
Difficult to fill.
It's
Is that
usually
experience?
internal specialist.
Yeah, so usually when it comes to LCI threes, the promotion is usually internal.
Yeah.
So you have LCI ones, LCI
move
twos,
up,
so you have
and
the,
then
you have the
backfill.
necessary experience. And so you move on across. And to a degree, and that's what we're trying to do as well, in a reorganization. Is to create more positions that people can fill and provide more upward mobility for staff.
So the only thing I was going to ask is, so with this current contracted LC3 position that we want to turn to be a permanent position at some point, would that most likely be a person who is filling the contract? Or is that going to be just a position that internally is going to be applied for? I mean, if we don't know, we don't know, but you know what I mean, right? Because
Yeah.
I guess
sometimes you get guys that contract these positions that
I
don't
guess
really
I
wanna.
guess it depends on how
Stay
well they
permanent.
perform, commission, I guess it depends on how well they perform.
Okay,
It's not as though, you know, we're just gonna. Good position, but they will be evaluated and
Okay.
see whether or not they should stay.
That's helpful. Good clarity around some of these things.